Our newest legendary is here, Male Shez, and we are ready to jump in and see what he can do and if he can make an impact on the meta. Okay, so we have Dual Sword, which essentially what this has is Slaying as Dual Phase Brave. You're going to inflict a penalty on the foe's stats within 3 rows or 3 columns, and it's going to be 4 plus the number of combat instances you've been in times 4, a max of 12, so a max of minus 12 to all stats on all foes in 3 rows or 3 columns, so pretty powerful support there. You're also going to get up to plus 14 to all stats. You're going to get 30% damage reduction, and it is Brave, and you get full tempo. So, pretty similar to female Shez's weapon. Obviously, the big condition that's different is that supportive effect. We also have Ruptured Sky and Attack Speed Finish. Okay, so we have his preference speed skill, Shadow Slide, and this is a really crazy skill. So first of all, you get warping, but you can warp to any ally who's entered combat during this current turn within 2 spaces. So that's like, imagine, right, like Wings of Mercy 4, but instead of it being an HP condition, it's the ally has entered combat condition, which is extremely powerful. You also get the typical warping within 2 spaces, so this is the same as you've seen with, like, you know, Ash or like aerial maneuvers, right, on like Alencia, so it just gives them that really big warping range as well. But then you also get Pass. That's right, you get Pass. Oh my god. And then if Shez is within 3 spaces of an ally, you're going to inflict modified all stats on the foe. You're going to get 20% true damage based off your speed, but not including AoEs. You get damage reduction halving, and you get flat damage reduction of 7 that is Brave against the foe's first attack. Now this is where things get interesting, because this weapon isn't, like, it's good obviously, it has like some nice stat boosts, a little bit of support, it's a dual phase Brave weapon, right, it's going to be pretty solid overall. But this is where things get insane, because it gives Shez ridiculous warping, but most importantly Pass, right, because we've had a lot of units with really good warping, like Summer Petra just recently, right, or obviously the big one, Emblem Celica, who can just warp wherever. And what makes Emblem Celica such a big threat is that she can warp past like the anti-warping effects like on Myrrh or Gatekeeper or like High Dragon Wall. So him being able to do that is really crazy, but the fact that it's also global range is disgustingly insane. Like, that is so ridiculously powerful. The fact that it also doesn't require the Celica ring, which means that we now have 3 like units who can consistently really warp, right? You have Celica, Shez, and your Celica ring unit as well. That's horrifying. That's really, really scary. So that in itself is really good. He's going to be extremely mobile. He has damage reduction halving, so you're not really like reliant on like lethality, which is really good. The 7 flat damage reduction, I don't know if that's going to be really enough to sort of like make him live. Maybe because he has a Daunt in his B slot as well as a big Daunt in his A slot. Maybe it will be enough, but we'll have to wait and see. But overall, this is looking like a pretty powerful preference skill when it comes to mobility, right? Okay, so we have a new inheritable C skill, Pulse Smog. This is going to inflict speed and defense -3 on the foe. It's also going to inflict guard on them. But then after combat, you're going to inflict attack -7 as a visible debuff and guard on the target and all foes within 3 spaces of the target through their next actions. And you get to inflict special cooldown count +1. So that typical pulse smoke effect. That's pretty powerful. But then things get a little bit nuts, where if you initiate combat and the foe has an offensive special, you're going to inflict a scowl effect on them before their foe's first attack. So this is obviously really, really powerful. It's just another way to get Scowl, and it's also on the foe before their first attack, which means that you can turn off things like Emblem Ike's Great Ether, which is what this is very much targeted at. The other thing is that this is inheritable, so that means you can put it on a lot of your nukes and make them kind of Emblem Ike proof to an extent. Now obviously this is becoming so common. If you're a good Ike player, you are already planning for this, and you have special jump support in the multitude of different ways, such as like Harmonic Nephany or like any of the Brave Robins or like Baby Robin or whatever, right? So there's definitely ways to get around this, but this is a pretty powerful skill, and being able to get that kind of a scowl effect on an inheritable skill is really, really good. Okay, so when it comes to roles, what is Shez really playing? Shez is mostly a nuke unit. That's going to be the main role he's trying to like fulfill. He does have some support in there, right? He has that nice big, he has that big rain effect to like lower the opponent's stats. He also has that pulse smoke effect, which is inheritable, so that's something as well. But mostly he's playing a nuke, and he's playing a very mobile one at that. When it comes to game modes, I think Shez is going to be really good in just all of them. Obviously, he'll be good in Arena because he is a legendary unit, so he's going to score well there. But when it comes to Ether Raid's offense, he's going to fit really well into Gale Force teams or hit and run teams. And he's not going to really need any type of investment or special fodder or like any types of builds. You just go in, and if one of your allies has attacked already, he just gets to teleport in. And so that means he's going to work really well with my new favorite units, Felix, right? Brave Felix is going to do so well there. Brave Felix goes in, he enters combat, he has his extra action, and then Shez can come in at any point to help out. If there's any foes that like Felix needs to kill, or like maybe Felix is struggling with, or like maybe he just wants some extra damage with some like savage blow or something like that, Shez can just jump in and help at any time, which is really strong. The other thing, of course, is he's going to be really good on Ether Raid's defense. We've already seen that Ether Raid's defense has made a big switch just in this past couple of weeks with the Brave units coming out. The immersion of like, warping with Felix coming in, being very annoying. The I Swear Brave Robin. But the one thing that we've definitely seen since Celica came out is that warping is everywhere, right? We have Celica herself being a big threat on Ether Raid's defense because she can get past the anti-warping. And we also have units with Celica Ring who also offer another level of warping. So you really have to like be careful with how you place your units. And now we have yet another unit like that with Shez. And so being able to just warp into the enemy's team and just destroy something is really scary. The thing is, like, he can't only warp within 2 spaces of any ally who's entered combat. So if that ally is dead, he can't warp to them, obviously. So once again, you're going to be looking for allies who can survive combats. And Felix is a great one. So Felix being able to warp in, enter combat, and then have Shez do a follow-up is going to be amazing. Also, you can use units who have like miracles. Infantry Pulse has great defense with level 1 Shion with Miracle, so he would work really well there as well. Overall, I think this unit's going to be really strong in Ether Raid's defense, offense, and arena. But then we have Summoner Duels, and Summoner Duels is kind of nuts because once again, this warping is crazy. You get that pass effect, but now the thing is you need a unit who can survive, right? So you need a unit who can get in there. And as I've been saying this entire time, Brave Felix is going to be a great option for that. But you're also going to have units like Alphonse or some other big mobile calves. It's possible, like, with Brave Self getting his Refine, or even like Crom, right? Having those units who can go in, do some damage, and then either like Kanto like barely out of the enemy's range, and then have Shez come in where he's right inside the range and kill something would be really strong. Or just having a unit who can survive right inside the enemy team. Shez is going to do a great job there as well. So overall, I think this unit is very powerful when it comes to the warping plays and stuff. My biggest thing I'm afraid of is that he doesn't have enough firepower, which sounds a little bit crazy, right? He is a dual phase Brave unit with true damage, so typically that is like what you're looking for, right? True damage, damage reduction having, and a Brave weapon is pretty good. The one big thing, of course, is that he's not having the effective damage that his female counterpart has, which will definitely hold him back a little bit. We even see someone like Brave Bernadetta, who has a very similar thing, right? The dual phase Brave weapon and the true damage. She even has more true damage than he really does because she can run Assassin Strike, and she still can miss kills as well. So I'm going to be interested to see how well this Shez can actually kill things. But if he can't kill things, he's going to be very powerful. And even if he can't, he can like jump in and kill those vulnerable targets that you're not really, gonna have to worry about them tanking anything. So I think this unit is just fantastic, extremely powerful, really excited for him. But let's jump into the rest of the banner. Okay, let's start off with what I consider the best color, which is red. Obviously, red is just extremely stacked. Not only do you get the new legendary Shez, which is going to be a great unit, but you get Emblem Ike, one of the most powerful units in the entire game currently. Easily the best tank meta in every single game mode. He's just fantastic, and you get the Emblem Ring as well. And then lastly, you have Fallen Lumera. Fallen Lumera is also a pretty solid support unit. I really do like her stones quite a lot, and being able to use her outside of different seasons of Mythic Lumera also adds some value there. But the other big thing, of course, is the skill duplication, which is really big, and the arcane weapon. So overall, red is just a giant win. No matter what you're going to get in there, you're going to be pretty happy, and you're going to get some value out of it. In second place, I'm going to have green. I'm going to be honest, this green pool isn't really all that insane. Legendary Robin has definitely fallen off quite a bit. He does offer some niche support now, and he can still work to an extent, but his firepower is just completely fallen off a cliff. Then we also have female Lear, who is a solid Omni tank, but she's definitely not anywhere near the top. Legendary male Lear definitely does whatever she can, typically better, so that's one thing to consider as well. Though she does help scoring in Fire Season, which is nice. The real reason why you'll be pulling secondary for green is Nurgle. Nurgle is one of the most powerful units in the entire game right now. He's just absolutely insane because of his Essence Drain effect that allows him to steal the bonuses of the enemy team and give them to his own team. So if you're going for green, you're pretty much going to be going for Nurgle, or just like trying to finish up those merge projects, right, to get that arena scoring. But overall, I'd say green is pretty solid. Not amazing though. We're then going to go down to our third color, which is going to be blue. Blue is a pretty far drop off in my opinion. We do have some good value in two offense mythics, but both of those offense mythics, in my opinion, aren't that great. You really don't want to be merging up Nerthus or Ratatosker. Both of them just really don't offer all that much. They're not unusable by any means. The anti-warping of Ratatosker is kind of nice, but it takes just so much more work than using somebody else who's a lot better. And the same thing can be said with Nerthus, where she can work in Gale Force teams, but like, man, I'd rather just use somebody else if I have the option. So overall, Blue's not bad, but once again, not that great. You also do have Freyr, of course. Now, Freyr is still meta somehow. He's just such an annoyance. His power is just undeniable in Anima Season. The thing is, you don't really need merges on Freyr, so if you haven't got a copy of him yet, it's great to pick up one copy, but other than that, you really don't need more than one copy of him because he really doesn't have that great of fodder either. Then lastly, we're going to have Colorless. I think Colorless is just kind of a miss. We have Arvel, and Arvel just isn't all that great of an Anima Mythic anymore. They do offer like some nice guard support and some decent damage, but nothing all that amazing. You then have Yukimura with some also okay fodder and some like okay support with like the damage reduction having, but once again, not all that fantastic. And lastly, you have Arlen, who has some pretty solid fodder in close bonus doubler, and also just being able to offer that like terrain ignoring effect with also being able to run Canto control. So he's not like terrible, but like once again, these are not really the units you're pulling for. So overall, if you're going to be pulling on this banner, I really recommend focusing on red and then maybe splashing into green and hoping you can get one of those Nurgles. Yeah, let's move on to the Wind Legendary tier list. We haven't done one of these in quite a while. At the top of S+, I am going to have Shez. I think Shez is overall really powerful. He fits really well into the current meta, being able to get past Warping Denial and being able to just do a lot of damage. The only thing that makes me concerned is his damage itself, to see if he's strong enough to take out like some of the better nukes in the game, or if he's going to be mostly just relegated to like sniping the back line units, kind of like how Emblem can be sometimes as well. After that, we're also going to have Legendary Alencia, of course. There's not much to say. Everybody knows Alencia is just amazing with her Guidance 5, NFU support, and melee nuking. Also in S+, we're going to have Legendary Female Corrin. Her Refine really helped her out a ton. She's a really solid Omni tank, though you do need to invest a lot into her with like Legoose Friend 4 and all like the assets and all that kind of stuff, which can be a bit expensive, but she is a really solid unit. In S tier, we're going to have Legendary Veronica. Once again, pretty solid nuke if you invest into her, give her all those premium skills, but she definitely isn't as powerful as she once was. We also have Legendary Eliwood, who is a solid support still. Definitely not the only option for bonus doubler anymore, but even so, he's still really good because it is at that global range. And lastly, we'll have Yuri, who once again is a solid nuke with that good mobility. In A tier, we're going to have Sigurd and Myr. Once again, units who are solid but not amazing. And then down in B tier, we're going to have Legendary Female Balth. The thing is she's getting refined, like, I think in like a week, so it's really not that far off, so there's a good chance Legendary Female Balth skyrockets from this point up, because she does offer some really nice support in like tempo and stuff, so I could definitely see her getting a lot better. Micaiah should be getting refined like sometime next year, so there's a chance she'll go up as well, but currently she's just not that great, and the same can be said with Lucina and Lynn. It's just definitely fallen off when it comes to like firepower, so they really can't fulfill the roles they used to be able to anymore. And then last, I didn't want to make like 3 tiers down to put Gudra and Rid. I think they're just absolutely terrible units now. They're pretty much not usable, like unless you like hyper invest into them, and then they're okay. But if, in my honest opinion, just do not invest into those units. Don't get merged for them. Do not pull for them. They're down in like D or F tiers. They're like really, really bad. So I would just completely avoid those if possible. With that said, let's move on to the final part of the video. Should you pull? Okay, so when it comes to should you pull, some of the big pros is that this new legendary is really powerful in the current meta. The ability to get past anti-warping is really, really good, and also Shez has some great fodder as well, so you're getting like a very powerful nuking unit who doesn't need the Celica ring, which is really nice as well, because like there's just so many units who want the Celica ring currently. So being able to just go in and warp and destroy things is really cool. Also some great fodder there as well. You also have the Emblem Ike and Lumerit in red, so red is just crazy stacked in my opinion. You really can't lose in red. And then lastly, you do have Nurgle as well, so if you haven't gotten a chance to get Nurgle, he is so powerful, I would definitely recommend picking him up if you like to play like competitively. Now when it comes to cons, we do have Choose Your Legends currently running, and Choose Your Legends is a really strong banner this year. Like, it's a very, very good banner. We've seen just how much power Brave Felix and Brave Robin have been able to have recently, and Alphonse and Bernadette aren't far behind. They're very good units as well, so that's definitely a good reason to be pulling on that banner, especially because it does have 4 sparks available for everyone, while this banner was only sparkable to Feh Pass players. We then also have a tribe banner coming up pretty soon. It's not guaranteed to be the tribe banner, but we do have that new seasonal banner, which tends to be that. So there's a chance there's be some powerful units there, so it's always possible to hold out on this banner until that banner is revealed. Make sure you're making the correct choices. And then the other 2 cons is that we do have a lacking colors and a mid blue pool as well, and even green isn't all that great either. So unless you're really going in for red here, I don't think this banner is completely necessary to pull on, though I do think Shez will be really strong and we will be seeing a lot of him as long as his nuking can pull through. That's the only thing I'm worried about, so we'll have to wait and see. With that said, I'd love to hear from you now. What do you think of legendary male Shez? Do you think he lives up to the hype? How do you feel about him being so similar to his female counterpart? And are you going to be pulling for him? I'd love to hear about it, so make sure to drop a comment down below. As always, I'd like to thank all my members for their constant support. This has been Oblivion. I'll catch y'all later with more Fire Emblem Heroes.